What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about two of the all-time greats in the NBA, Kevin Durant and LeBron James. Should Chicago target them? And also, guys, we have not been making a video over the channel over the past week due to the NFL draft here at Chat Sports. We have been very, very busy. But starting right now, there will be daily videos on this channel around your Chicago Bulls. So, hey, that is a big reason why you guys should hit that subscribe button. If you guys want the best offseason Bulls coverage, I want to be your guy. So hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't already. And help us reach here almost 7,000 subs on the channel. I think it would be pretty cool if we could hit it on today's show. But the Bulls should have a very active offseason here. So it would depend on, what moves they decide to make. And, obviously, if they actually decide to make them this offseason. So hit that sub button if you guys haven't already. But I do want to get this take out there before we break down Kevin Durant and LeBron James. Now, there is no doubt in my mind, these are two of the top 15 greatest basketball players we have ever seen. LeBron James, I think, is the second greatest, obviously behind Michael Jordan. But I think we're seeing that the league is starting to pass them by. We look at what Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves did to Kevin Durant and his Phoenix Suns, packing them up in 4 games. And in a series where Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on the floor, Anthony Edwards was no doubt the best player in the league. And LeBron had a great season this past year. But is he a top 10 guy anymore? I don't necessarily think so. So I think these guys are both all-time greats, but these aren't the same Kevin Durant and LeBron James type of players that you would be getting like 5 years ago. So I wanted to get that point out there first. But let's dive into it. Should the Bulls target Kevin Durant? As it's looking more and more likely that the Phoenix Suns have a decision to make with their current core. Will they keep, all 3 of the big 3 of Beal, Booker, and KD? Or will they try to move off 2 of them, move off 1 of them? What will they decide to do? This is a report coming in from Shams, kind of giving us some insight of what's going on there in Phoenix. He says KD never felt comfortable with his role in the offense under Frank Vogel. The future Hall of Famer reportedly felt not enough plays were drawn up for him and that he was too often relegated to the corner. And listen, guys, the Suns were a joke this past season. Like, just watching them in the playoffs, like, what a poor overall basketball team they were. They had tremendous shot-making ability, tremendous just scoring ability on the outsides, but overall as a basketball team, they were an absolute joke, and I felt the same way. You have Kevin Durant, one of the best players we have ever seen, a top 3 scorer of all time, and too often it was just him in the corner, kind of being a viewer of the offense instead of actually being an initiator. So I don't blame KD if he wants to get out of Phoenix at all, because how they handled him, how they handled this whole kind of big 3 that they tried to put together, I thought it was an absolute joke. But let's just say Kevin Durant does decide to come to the Chicago Bulls. Bulls can somehow pull off a blockbuster trade to land this 7-foot sniper from Texas. I think if he would win a ring in Chicago, I think it would be no doubt making him a top 10 player of all time. Like, could you, because also I'll make this point first. You look at how people view Kevin Durant's rings with the Golden State Warriors. They always have an asterisk next to him since they were one of the greatest basketball teams ever assembled, playing also next to a top 10 player of all time in his prime, in a guy like Steph Curry. But if KD were to come to Chicago and somehow bring the Bulls back to that championship contention and win them a ring for the first time since 1998, I think he would be undisputed a top 10 player of all time. So that'll be kind of my sales pitch to KD coming to Chicago. But let's take a look at his contract here, how it shakes out over the next 3 seasons. So this past season, he did make $47.2 million, but it does increase by $3 million over the next 2 years. This next upcoming year, he'll be making $51.7 million, which is important to know in terms of matching contracts in a trade. And then also in 2025, 2026 season, he will be making $54.7. And if you want to make this easy, Chicago Bulls, if you package Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso, you can match that salary. And that is what's going to be so challenging for other teams to perform a trade for Kevin Durant. He's going to be able to match that $54 million he is set to make next season. With the Bulls, with LaVine making damn near 43 and Alex Caruso still with that $10 million deal, they could easily match his contract. Could they throw in maybe a Patrick Williams in a sign and trade, throw together 3 future first-round picks to go land Kevin Durant? I am not sure, but if that was a trade package of LaVine, Caruso, and 3 firsts to land Kevin Durant, obviously that would be a lot. Bulls wouldn't be drafting for the next couple of seasons, but I think I would do it because having KD, I would assume Coby White, and whoever the hell the Bulls want to run out at center next year, it would be a whole lot better than just running back this same group. So I would do that trade whether it's Levine and Alex Caruso, and also throwing in some future draft capital to land one of the greatest players of all time. But hey, obviously you're going to have to wait and see what the Bulls decide to do. But let me know if there is a player out there, and obviously Kevin Durant, LeBron James are extremely unlikely to land in Chicago, but let me know, who should the Bulls target this offseason? I have an underrated dream guy. That's Mitchell Robinson. If they could somehow move off, Nikola Vucevic, that would be my guy that I'm going to target this offseason. But you guys let me know down below in the comments. Who should the Bulls target this offseason? Then coming up in just a second, we're breaking it down. LeBron James heading to the Bulls. As I remember, it felt like just yesterday, back in 2010, that offseason extravaganza that LeBron put on where he had the decision on ESPN. I actually thought he was going to come team up with Derrick Rose with the Bulls, but maybe it's going to be Coby White he's going to team up with here in Chicago. But we'll get to that here in a second. But first off, guys, I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. If you guys download the Prize Picks app and use promo code CLNS when you're making your first deposit, we're going to match it up to $100. Obviously, with the football season not here, you may be wondering, what can I make Prize Picks lineups for? Well, the NBA season is heating up with NBA playoffs in full effect. So how do you make a lineup? You choose more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you guys can start seeing the cash roll in today. This is my favorite app I have on my phone. Any game I watch during the NBA playoffs, I'm making a Prize Picks lineup for it, and I promise if you guys download the app, use that promo code CLNS, you guys will as well. There are all types of games that you guys can play, all types of stat projections you guys can get involved on. So download the Prize Picks app, use promo code CLNS, and we're going to match your first deposit up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's Prize Picks. It is that easy. That's why it is the #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. So check them out. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS code CLNS. So more about LeBron James here coming in from Brian Windhorst. He said this early on today. He says, I think LeBron intends to opt out of his contract and become a free agent for the first time since 2018. So the Bulls would not need to trade for him. They would just obviously need to sign one of the greatest players we have ever seen. And if you're looking at the LeBron James next team odds, according to the bookmakers out west, they actually have the Golden State Warriors as the favorite at plus 400. Then they got him returning to Cleveland at plus 500, the New York Knicks at plus 600. But shockingly enough, the Chicago Bulls at plus 700 have the 4th best odds to land the Lakers forward, and then the Philadelphia 76ers coming there plus 800. Now you may be asking, what type of, kind of juice or gas does LeBron James have left in the tank? Well, this past playoff series against the Denver Nuggets, where, yes, they did get packed up in 4 or 5 games here, but, 2 Jamal Murray game winners. Obviously, the Lakers, I didn't think they were going to win this series. I thought they would have extended it to 6 or 7, but they were right with them, led by LeBron, who was averaging 27.8 points per game, 8.8 assists per game, 6.8 rebounds a game, still in year 21 at age 39. I still really believe LeBron has 2 really, really good years left in the NBA. We know his cerebral side of the game will be able to carry him over these next 2 years. Obviously, when his athletic ability does take that dip, and we have already seen it, but I think he is such a smart basketball player, knows how to make the winning plays over and over and over again. I think he will still be extremely effective in that top 20 player in the world range for at least the next 2 years, and just the locker room aspect that he would bring for these young guys like Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu. I would be absolutely thrilled to get LeBron, but I think the only way you get LeBron is if you probably draft his son, Bronny James, out of USC. I think LeBron is either going to take this free agency 2 ways. He is either going to go to whatever team drafts Bronny or go to whatever team that he feels like he could win another championship, as he still constantly says he's chasing that ghost over there in Chicago. But my message to the Chicago Bulls would be this. Don't put a Band-Aid on an open wound. Right now, the Bulls are in a terrible spot. They are nowhere close to competing for championships. And I think if the Bulls would go all in for Kevin Durant or all in for LeBron James, you would necessarily be just putting a Band-Aid on an open wound where, yes, you would be better next year. You would be in the playoffs. You would be hopefully competing to make the conference finals with those 2 on your team. But is that the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? Are we trying to get back to championship contention for countless years ahead of us? Or are we just going to go all in on next season? I don't know. That's where I love LeBron. I love Kevin Durant. It would be so much fun to bring those 2 to Chicago, but again, is that the best choice for the Bulls? I just don't think so. But hey, if you guys made it to the end of today's video, let me see where all the real ones are at down in the comment section. Give me a C red if you're still seeing red this offseason. So if you made it to the end, I want to know who the real ones are. Give me a C red down below. And as always, guys, we're going to be posting daily videos here on the channel for the next couple of months. So make sure you guys are subscribed. I apologize for no videos over the past week, but it was just hectic times here at the Chat Sports Studios covering the NFL draft. Is actually your Chicago Bears drafting Caleb Williams and Roman Dunze. Clap it up to a Chicago front office that knows how to get it done. Now we just need to wait for the Bulls to maybe take that direction of the Chicago Bears. But I appreciate you guys, tuning in on today's show. And as always, guys, hit that sub button, lock us in. See y'all next time. Go Bulls.